Let me stick with you here, Justin, and ask you, given your experience and your connection with advertisers and ad buyers, what are you hearing from them about how they're planning to move into 2023?
I think most ad buyers are going to move into 2023 pretty much how they moved coming out of the pandemic. I think the pandemic allowed a lot of media buyers to look at their budget and to kind of look at ROI across the board to see where they were getting the greatest benefit. And, you know, when you look at small publishers, they normally don't have a lot of national advertisers unless they're doing something from a digital space programmatically. But you know, it's one of those things when budgets gets cut, when budgets are cut, you know, it prompts, you know, media buyers to look at, you know, where they're spending their dollars. So, my advice to people on the advertising side, is be flexible, you know, with your long-term, spenders, figure out ways to be able to keep them in the fold on what you're doing. Look at ways that you can incentivize. I mean, I'm not saying, decapitate your product, by any means, but, you know, look at ways that, you know, you can keep those relationships going and being able to come up with different, you know, advertising specials that allow them to have visibility across all of your platforms. I think, media buyers appreciate that when they see that, you know, because it's something that's affecting people on both sides of the spectrum. So it's like, where do we meet in the middle? How can we meet in the middle? How can, we continue to keep you as an advertising client? And what can we do to earn your money from a media buying standpoint? I think that's the biggest thing, and ROI is big, highly encourage, anybody on the advertising side of things to always be looking at what your product is yielding, through performance reporting, having those conversations, more frequently now, because across the landscape, there's just so many different ways that people can spend their money when it comes to advertising. And, local media has to do a little bit more than what national media and, some of these untraditional media platforms have to do just based off of what they can offer. But, relationships are irreplaceable. And, once you forge their relationship, I think you have a good chance to be able to maintain it.
Zuri, I wanted to second what Justin said.
Sure.
It's really and truly about relationships, especially on a local level. And that's something that it took me a long time to figure out. There's a saying that when the economy turns bad, marketing is the first thing companies cut. And there's some truth to that. As smaller publishers, we have to really work hard to make ourselves that much more valuable to our advertisers or our sponsors, whatever we have. And so, that's part of our conversation as well. How can we deliver just a little bit more for their marketing dollar so that when they sit down or if they sit down to figure out what media they're going to cut, how do we figure out a way that we're at the bottom of that list and not at the top of that cut list?